it's not wise policy of the United States to stop the rise of China because China can no longer be stopped. And the only way to stop China is to ask the Chinese government to stop improving the livelihood of its own people.
That is a powerful statement. It sounds wise. It sounds reasonable. But there is a problem. Because in the very same interview, Mahbubani accidentally undermines his own argument. Before we go further, let me be clear about what this video is and what it is not. This is not a defense of US policy. It is not an attack on Mahbubani. It is not about whether China is right or wrong. This video is about one thing: how we argue. It is about definition. It is about evidence. It is about whether a claim holds up when you actually test it. Mahbubani is a serious thinker. But serious thinkers can make serious errors. And when they do, we should be able to point them out. So, let's look at what he actually said. Let's examine the logic. What Mahbubani just did is a masterclass in rhetorical misdirection. Let's break it down. He asserts that the US is trying to stop China. He does not provide evidence. He does not define what stop means. He simply states it as if it is self-evident. He defines stopping China as something impossible. He says the only way to achieve this goal is to ask the Chinese government to stop improving the lives of its own people. Now here's the thing. Mahbubani's deeper point is actually correct.
What?
China's rise is driven by internal economic development, lifting 800 million people out of poverty, domestic innovation, industrial policy. You cannot sanction a country out of its own internal growth. That is an economic truth. But by framing this as the US is trying to stop them, he ignores a crucial distinction. US policy is aimed at managing the external symptoms of that growth, protecting its own market, safeguarding its technological lead, responding to unfair trade practices. It is not aimed at stopping the internal engine of China's rise. Mahbubani collapses these two things. He treats defensive actions as offensive containment. That is the misdirection. He uses an economic truth to support a geopolitical claim that does not follow. He concludes, therefore, US policy is unwise. The logic seems clean, but it is built on a hidden assumption. Here is what Mahbubani does not tell you. 1. He never defines stop. Is it stopping economic growth, technological advancement, regional influence? He never says. Without definition, the claim cannot be tested. 2. He never proves that US actions are motivated by containment rather than self-defense or competition. Tariffs, chip bans, alliances, these are actions. But what is the intent? Mahbubani assumes the worst without proof. Someone might say, US officials have spoken publicly about restricting China's access to advanced semiconductors, reducing strategic dependencies, and preserving technological leadership. Isn't that evidence of intent? Those statements are evidence of capability denial. They are not evidence of comprehensive containment. The evidence demonstrates efforts to restrict specific Chinese capabilities. It does not, by itself, establish a coherent grand strategy aimed at stopping China's overall rise. There is a difference between denying specific capabilities, engaging in strategic competition, executing comprehensive containment. Mahbubani collapses all three into one word: stop. That is the fallacy. 3. He conflates stopping with competing. Strategic competition is normal between great powers. Containment is something else. He never distinguishes between them. Now here's where it gets interesting. In the very same interview, Mahbubani says this.
The leaders of the United States, and I don't mean Republicans only, by the way, is both Democrats and Republicans have not worked out an equally comprehensive long-term strategy for managing the return of China as a great power.
Let that sink in. He says America is trying to stop China, and then he says America lacks a comprehensive long-term strategy. Think about what that means. This is not a contradiction. It is something worse. Mahbubani is saying the US wants to stop China. The US has no strategy to do it. That means the US has the desire to contain China, but is too disorganized, reactive, and strategically incoherent to actually execute it. He is confusing American incompetence with American impossibility. The question is not whether the US wants to stop China. The question is whether it can. And if it lacks a coherent strategy, the answer is no. Not because China is unstoppable, but because the US cannot organize itself to do it. That is not a contradiction. It is an admission of failure. To understand why this matters, we need to understand what containment actually means. Now, someone might say, Mahbubani never meant 1940s Kennan containment. He meant modern containment, tech bans, supply chain decoupling, alliance building. That is the misdirection. He uses an economic truth to support a geopolitical claim that does not follow. Fair enough. Let's use that definition. What does modern containment require? 1. A unified, multi-domain strategy, economic, military, diplomatic, technological. 2. Sustained commitment across administrations, not reactive election cycle moves. 3. Coordination with allies, not unilateral actions. 4. Clear metrics for success, not just slowing them down. That is what containment looks like today. Now compare that to what the US actually does. The difference is clear. Even by modern definition, the US is not executing containment. And Mahbubani himself says the US lacks the strategy to do so. The evidence demonstrates efforts to restrict specific Chinese capabilities. It does not, by itself, establish a coherent grand strategy aimed at stopping China's overall rise. That is the core of the fallacy. So how do we avoid being trapped by this kind of argument? 1. Demand definition. Before accepting any claim, ask, what does the key term actually mean? 2. Demand evidence. Actions are observable. Intent is not. If someone claims to know intent, ask them to prove it. 3. Refuse the false binary. Distinguish between strategic competition, safeguarding national interests, and containment. They are not the same thing. Mahbubani collapses them all into one word: stop. That is the source of the confusion. This is not just about Mahbubani. It is about how we talk about geopolitics. Too many commentators use loaded terms: containment, encirclement, stopping, without defining them. They assume intent without proving it. If we cannot distinguish between competition and containment, we cannot have a serious conversation about great power relations. So where does this leave us? Mahbubani's argument is built on an unproven assertion. He says America is trying to stop China. He provides no definition. He provides no evidence, and his own words undermine him. In the same interview, he admits America lacks a comprehensive long-term strategy. That is not a contradiction. It is an admission of failure. He is not saying America is executing a coherent containment policy. He is saying America wants to, but cannot organize itself to do it. The argument collapses under its own weight. Mahbubani says America cannot stop China. Maybe he is right, but he never proved America is trying. An argument without proof isn't wisdom. It is just confidence.